Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Chrissy, and as you guys can see from the title, today we are doing a little bit of a different video. Guys, it is fall here in New England. It is my literal favorite time of year, and I kind of wanted to get into like the fall Halloween spooky season vibe feeling. So I decided today that I wanted to do something different because for those of you who do not know, I actually really love baking and I really love cooking. So I am going to attempt to make homemade apple cider donuts. If you've never had one, you're missing out and you need to make these because they're so good. But that is what I'm gonna be attempting today. I did go to my local farm and I picked up some like apple cider, some apple butter, some of the ingredients that I needed, and I'm really excited to show you guys how to make these. And that's what we're gonna be doing. So here we go. So for the apple cider reduction, you're basically going to take any apple cider. I just got this one at my farm. You literally can make it with just apples or go buy it somewhere. But you're going to take 2 cups and you're going to boil the 2 cups down till it makes about a half cup. So what's going to happen is you're going to boil this liquid until most of like the water content kind of evaporates, and it's going to become like a thick apple syrup kind of, and it should be reduced down to about a half cup. So your 2 cups of apple cider is going to be reduced down to about a half cup of the liquid that's remaining. Okay, so as you guys can see, we have kind of like reduced this down and I took it off the heat. I am going to measure this and see if my eyeballing is good, but we had to reduce it to a half a cup. Let's see. Supposed to measure it on the, oh, it's literally perfect. Oh my God, wait. Oh my God, she's perfect. Do y'all see this right now? She's perfect. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm gonna just transfer it into the bowl so it can cool down and come to room temperature, and then we can actually start making the dough. Okay, so now that the reduction is done and that is cooling off, the rest of the ingredients that we're gonna need is as follows, and also all of the measurements will be in the description below, but we need some sugar and some light brown sugar, but I didn't have light brown, so I'm using dark brown. I don't think it matters. They might just be a little bit more molassesy, but whatever. 2 eggs, then you're gonna need some sour cream, you're gonna need apple butter, the reduction of the apple cider we just made, some vanilla extract, flour, some baking soda. Oh, I just stuck my finger in the sour cream. Some baking powder, baking soda, nutmeg and cinnamon, some salt. This is the cinnamon sugar mixture for the donuts at the end, and then butter that we're going to melt in due time when we start emulsifying. And like I said, everything is going to be in the description below for measurements. And then over here we have, I already sliced my little sheets of flour to put the donuts on to transfer into the oil because it just makes it easier with some extra flour. And then of course we have some bowls and my standing mixer, like handheld mixer that I'm going to be using. I was going to use my regular standing mixer, but it's too much of a pain in the ass, so we're doing that today. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by combining all of the dry ingredients. So the flour, and then the baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and nutmeg. And then we are going to add the salt. And also, you guys are not going to be adding the sugars at this point. So the sugar, this stuff, no. We are going to save that for when we beat it together with the eggs. But right now we are going to combine all the rest of the dry ingredients. I'm just going to like whisk it really, just ever so lightly, you know. Like I said, we are not adding the cinnamon, or not adding the sugars at this point. This bowl is really small, but it's fine. And it already smells really good because of the cinnamon and nutmeg. But yeah, basically you're just gonna whisk this together. It's not like an exact science because everything's gonna get incorporated. I know I'm probably making so many people nervous with my whisking technique right now, but it is what it is. Okay, so now that the dry ingredients are mixed, we are going to start adding and combining and mixing, and mixing the wet ingredients. So we have the sour cream, which once again, everything should be at room temperature, and we are not adding the eggs. So you're keeping the sugar away from the dry ingredients and the eggs away from the wet for right now. Those are gonna be separate, but you're gonna combine the sour cream, you're gonna combine the apple butter. This apple butter is so freaking good too. I don't know if anybody's ever had apple butter or made it, but it's delicious. And then you're going to add the vanilla and that apple cider reduction that we just made. And you're just gonna whisk that baby up. Okay, now that the wet ingredients are mixed together, now we can start with our egg and sugar mixture. So first you're gonna start, you're gonna go and microwave or heat up your butter. Your butter has to be melted, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that the butter is melted, we are going to cool that off on the side, and I'm gonna start by doing or making the egg and sugar mixture. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna add your eggs to the bowl, and you're also gonna add your brown sugar and your granulated sugar, and you are gonna whisk that baby up, everyone, until the this whole mixture is like thickened and like the color is lightened, and then it doubles in volume. So I will show you what that looks like after I finish beating this. Okay, so this is what we are going for. If you guys can see this consistency, it's like very thick and also doubled in size and lightened in color. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stream in the melted butter, and we are going to emulsify it into the sugar and egg mixture. Okay, so I accidentally messed up on something, but you're supposed to incorporate the wet ingredients into the egg mixture that we just made. I accidentally poured it into the flour, so don't do that. But I don't think it should be a big deal anyway. But if you're making them yourself, just make sure that you incorporate all those wet ingredients together, including the egg mixture that you just used, and don't do what I just did like a dumbass. So we're gonna mix that in and incorporate all of that together. Yeah. Work, 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 work. Okay, that looks good. Now we are going to incorporate into the dry, because as you can see, I'm a dumbass and did this by accident because I was like, oops, forgot to add the other wet ingredients in. But now we are going to alternate the wet and dry. So I'm gonna add more of the wet ingredients in and use my cake mixer to mix it and alternate and do that until combined. Once again, you're just alternating dry and wet until you can no longer kind of like mix it. And then I'm gonna switch to using my hands or a spatula right after. That should be good. Okay, and now I'm just going around and scraping all the flour into the rest, and it's pretty thick, so Okay, so I am switching to voiceover for this, but basically for this portion of the dough rolling, whatever you want to call it, basically you're going to sprinkle a lot of flour on a piece of parchment paper or any surface that works for you. This is just easier, and eventually I end up actually putting it on a cookie sheet because you have to freeze this dough. But I'm basically just putting all of the donut dough onto the floured parchment paper. And this will just make it a lot easier to kind of like roll it out or push it out. I don't know, because like you're going to use your hands. So basically, also another big tip, please use a lot of flour. I had the biggest struggle with this dough because it was so sticky. I think because my like the type of apple butter that I had, since it's like homemade, is has a little bit more of a water content than normal apple butter, which is like pretty thick. So I think that's why my dough was like particularly like a little bit more sticky compared to what a regular donut dough is supposed to be. So if you are going to make these, please just use a lot of flour because this is going to stick even to the parchment paper, and it's going to be hell to cut out the donuts into little circles because it's going to stick and it's just going to suck. But anyways, now I am, as you can see, I transferred it onto a cookie sheet, and I am just using floured hands and putting more flour on top of the dough to kind of like use my hands to like flatten it out to about like 1.5 inches in, what's the word? Diameter? Not diameter. Thickness. 1.5 inch thickness. And then eventually, as you can see, my mom is helping me transfer the dough onto a different cookie sheet. Our cookie sheets have gone through it, guys. Like the amount of seasoning on those cookie sheets. But anyways, transferring it onto a bigger cookie sheet made it a lot easier because there's just a lot of dough, and for some reason, I don't know. It's easier to work for. It's easier to work. Okay. Damn. So now I am just taking a little bit of a pastry brush and I'm dusting off the excess flour just so it doesn't like completely dry out the dough, because you don't want to keep adding too much flour like into the mixture itself. So I'm just kind of like dusting it all off, making sure that it's a nice smooth dough. As I'm adding more flour to the side, but don't worry about that. That's for like the little piece that my mom was like, make another donut with it. Cause I didn't put any of the scraps. I just like kept them to the side instead of rolling them out. So my mom wanted to make one. Anyways, now you're going to put that into the freezer for 5 minutes, by the way. I know that cut out really short, but you're going to put it into the freezer, flash freeze it, and then take it out. And then you're going to use a cup or donut cutter, whatever you want. I don't have donut cutters, so I'm just using a glass, and you are going to start cutting out your donuts. And also, once again, make sure you're flouring the cutter. It's so much easier to cut these when they're frozen, not frozen, but cold. So I would even recommend leaving them in longer than 5 minutes. Now, as you can see, I was struggling with this, y'all. When I tell you, like, you need to utilize your flour because they were sticking, and it was it was a bad time. This took me about 45 minutes to do. And then I eventually was just like, you know what? These are going to be homemade and shaped the way that I want them, as you can see here. And then once again, I'm just taking the end of a pastry tip, like a piping tip, and cutting out the middles for the little like donut holes. You can once again use anything that's like small and circular, but I am using a pastry tip. Once again, brush off the excess flour because nobody wants that flour in the oil just chilling. You know what I mean, jelly bean? And now you're going to heat your oil to 340 to 350 degrees. This is going to go really fast. And you're going to fry your donuts for about 2 minutes on each side until they're golden brown. Y'all, emphasis on make sure you watch the temperature of your oil because they will burn or they will absorb too much oil, so be careful. But they're pretty and golden brown, so yay. And then you can start putting the cinnamon and sugar on them as soon as they are a little bit warm out of the oil. And look at what we have, the finished product. I'm actually so happy with how they turned out. They're so cute. You like my little placement? Look at this. So cute with the pumpkins. Sorry, I literally live for fall. Anyways, I hope you guys liked my little donut video.
I had fun. I hope you had fun. And if you guys make these, please let me know and tell me how they turn out. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I love y'all. And I hope you have a wonderful day or night, no matter where you are in the beautiful wide world. Bye. Mwah.